In relational databases, there is one specific answer to a given query over a given database instance, the correct answer. In information retrieval, this notion of correctness is not so clear. The real question is which documents are most relevant to the user's query, and did we do a good job of choosing relevant answers in our top K ranking? And so suppose that we only give K answers to a user's query. We'd like to measure, in some sense, quantify how well we did in terms of producing relevant answers. And we can do this by looking at what we call the positives and negatives, true and false, for the answers. So in this picture here, the circle represents the items that we actually returned in the top K, the K answers that were retrieved. Now you can imagine on the left here, each one of these dots is a document that was relevant to the query. And so the documents that we returned that were on the left-hand side of this diagram are what are called the true positives. These are documents we returned that we should have returned. The dots on the left that are not in the circle are what are called false negatives. These are things that we did not return, so they're negative. But that was an error. We should have returned them, so they're false negatives. Now on the right-hand side, inside the circle, we have documents we returned that actually aren't relevant. And those are called false positives. They're documents we returned, so they're positive, but they're not relevant, so they're false. And then outside the circle on the right-hand side are documents that we did not return, that we were not supposed to return. Those are true negatives. Right? Those are documents that we were not supposed to return. And so we can measure answer quality in terms of these true positives, false negatives, and true negatives. And particularly, there's two measures that people tend to use. One is called precision, and the other is called recall. And so precision is a measure of how many of the items that we returned were actually relevant. The number of true positives over the total number of items we returned, the percentage of the output that was actually true. A separate measure is called recall, which is of all the answers we should have returned, what percentage of those did we return? And so this is all, in some sense, on the left side of this picture. It's all about the relevant elements, and it asks what the ratio of true positives is to all the relevant elements. So precision and recall are two different metrics, and we like to measure both of them. We like to get high precision and high recall. And if we can do that, then we're doing a good job with our information retrieval, but it's difficult to do both well.